Okay. Let's check up. Oh, what's live? What's going on here? What's up, you guys? Okay, so I'm not feeling the best today, but I hope you guys are feeling good. Um, if you if you saw my last video, thank you for watching. This one, I'm gonna do it in three parts because when I finished filming the last one, I noticed that it was 40 minutes, and yeah, that was just it was a lot. So I'm gonna be talking about the same thing, but it's gonna let me just say one more. So I'm gonna be talking about marijuana use in relation to my spiritual journey. Hold on, I'm about to open this door. Okay, marijuana use in relation to my spiritual journey. So I'm gonna be talking about when I first used it. So that's gonna be the first video. My second video, I'll be talking about. I'm just so cold. I'm gonna be talking about when I first stopped using it, and then in my third video, I'll be talking about what happened when I went back to using it after I stopped. And also in that third video, I'll talk about what happened when I stopped again after I went back. Because, yeah, I wound up just being done with it. So, we're going to get into that. I'm going to just pause this really quick because I'm cold and I'm going to get my jacket. Hold on. One second. One second. Okay, we're back. So, I have my jacket. It's a beautiful day in the neighborhood. My Mr. Rogers jacket. Um, I don't know why I'm so cold because I don't have the air up or anything. Um, Also, before I get too far into this video, um, I said I wasn't feeling well. It's just I just have been having really bad headaches. Um, I guess from the way that I'm sleeping or something. I don't know. So it's just bothersome, you know. And then I decided to do my hair. You know what? I'm talking about a bunch of shit that don't matter. Um, in regards to my headaches and my sleep, I sleep the best on my back, but I haven't slept on my back in probably like a year, um, because I just had a really bad experience uh, relating to possible astral projection. I don't know. Um, Anyways, so that involved, a demon coming into my room and being at the edge of my bed, hearing voices and shit. So from that point on, I didn't want to sleep on my back anymore. I probably will change that. I probably have changed that perspective now because I'm not, I've grown a lot spiritually. So tonight I will try to sleep on my back, and I'll let you guys know how that goes tomorrow. Hopefully, it is. I don't know. I don't know what to expect. I'm open to it. I hope that I'm excited because I'm probably limiting myself. Um, I've never astral projected, I don't think. Not that I know of, and I've had some pretty crazy dreams. Um, See, I start rambling. This video is gonna be long, but I've had some pretty crazy dreams. I've had some recurring dreams. There are some people that I've seen in my dreams over and over and over. So it's almost like that's my little hangout session with certain people. you know. But back to this video. So when I first started smoking um, marijuana, that mm, I had, it was just, it was like unlike anything I had ever experienced before. I was very unfamiliar. The first time that I smoked, it was with a close friend of mine that was just kind of like, at that time, it was just like, oh, fun, haha, whatever. Um, got the munchies, all that good stuff, living it up. But the next day, like the world was definitely felt different. It was more vibrant. I had never viewed the world in that way. Looking back on it, I realized, or with what I know now, I realized that you know I was being taken to some places that I probably was not ready for. But that was only one time, and then I didn't smoke again for like another few months, and I was with somebody that I just met. Um, and it was after that was when my awakening kind of kicked in. That was, I don't know, was that 3 years ago? Yeah, 3 years ago. So that was when my awakening kicked in. But it's like outside my window. Hello. Um, that was when my awakening kicked in. I wound up just, that was when I got like super just like depressed. I didn't know why. It was almost like everything that I had prior to that, because I was very successful. I had my own place. I had, you know, I was always getting the bag. I was doing like hella good at work, whatever. I was like the top employee, and all of that made me very, very happy. And then it just didn't anymore. Like it just like no. Like I don't know. I didn't understand at that time like why I was so unsatisfied. Um, so that was just a lot of depression and anxiety, and not knowing really what was going on. Oh, I'm so old. Not knowing what was going on, I just wound up like um, just going and doing a bunch of stuff that I should not have done. Like I wound up drinking a lot. I wound up eating like, oh my gosh, I can't even. I'm talking about like eating freaking whole entire pizzas, bro. Pizzas, 2 liter sodas, like would be sitting on the side of my bed. I would have wings and fries, like malt liquor and energy drinks because at that time I had two jobs. So one of them was overnight, one of them was in the morning. So I would just be going, 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 going. My mind was just all over the place. I was not eating right. I was drinking and having energy drinks at the same time through all of that. Um, and I'm sure, obviously, you can guess, I snapped. Um, but okay, I'm trying to not lose track because it's that was just a one small section. Like that was when the pretty much marijuana kickstarted my awakening, which I'm grateful for. It was very traumatic and frightening. Um, I wound up attempting suicide, going into a psychiatric hospital. That was fun until the end of it. um, yeah, like on my last day, shit was a little bit different. On my last day, shit was a little bit different. Like it was crazy from. That's a whole other video. If you ever, I don't know. Excuse me, sorry, guys. Like, yeah. Um, I was in some situations. I think even before my last day in the hospital, I just was like so drugged up that I was just like happy to not be like suicidal that I didn't even pay attention. Like, anyways, they put me. Should I talk? I'm not gonna talk about that. I don't feel like that's appropriate. To talk about the people that I met in there or you know my interactions with them. So um, after that, I wound up just kind of trying to assimilate back into my normal day to day life, but it still never felt right. I thought that I was gonna go. And let me say this: I did not continue taking medication. Now, at that time, that was not by choice. I didn't have, the access. So, you know, I wound up not taking medication anymore, which I'm also grateful for. At the time, I was very upset because um, my father was kind of in charge of all of that. So I was mad at him. I was like, yo, like, I'm just trying to be happy here, and it was frustrating. But I'm thankful for it now. And maybe I'll get into that. Maybe I won't. I don't want to. I'm not a doctor, so I'm not trying to advise anybody or anything like that. I'm just speaking about my experience. Um, so, but because I wasn't taking the medication, I then was like, okay, well, what am I going to do? So I went to alternative methods and started doing some more research to try to understand what exactly was going on. Because I began to get uncomfortable with the idea that people would just say, oh, it's a chemical imbalance in your brain. This is why, you have anxiety or depression. That wasn't enough for me. Like, you got to tell me it's a chemical imbalance in my brain, but like, why? Why do I have a chemical imbalance in my brain? It's like, is it genetic? Why is it genetic? Where did it come from? Or, I wanted that information. And unfortunately, I didn't really find it. There wasn't really any answers. So I wound up just focusing on taking vitamins and um, yeah, I just started to be more conscious about what I would put into my body. Not as much as I am now, but still. And that was the first time that I started drinking tea because I wound up living with some guy that I didn't really know, and I probably shouldn't have lived with him. But it was, I guess, a safe environment. But yeah, they gave me my first cup of tea, and that was like, oh my gosh, like what? Because when you come from, I don't want to say like come from a black household, but I'll speak about my family and probably like a lot of other African American families. They don't. I I ain't never seen nobody drink no tea, unless it was some fucking sweet tea, which I hated. I hated sweet tea. So that was why I was like, I don't like tea because I feel like sweet tea sucks. I'm from. Should I say where I'm from? Because you already got my name, and you already know my birth month. I don't know. I'm from the south. I'm from the south, so they like sweet tea. I don't like sweet tea. Shit's nasty, man. Shoot me. Um, but yeah, I had chamomile tea and lemon tea, and it was like super, super relaxing. I was like, oh my gosh, this is life changing for me. This is a big deal. And yeah, I've been drinking tea ever since. Um, and then I wound up, as I'm trying to assimilate back into culture, I got a job again. Da 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 da. I'm withholding some information because I don't feel like it's the right time to share certain parts of the story. Um, so I'm sorry. I feel like at some point you guys are gonna have to like come and like piece all the videos together, so that it like the full picture makes sense. But I don't want to reveal too much because I don't want some parts of this are not finished. Like I know that some parts of this journey are not finished, so I don't want to talk about certain things in an incomplete, state. So I got my job, started working, and that was when I said, okay, I'm gonna start smoking, and I'm gonna see, what it can do for me spiritually. Um, and yeah, I mean I started smoking. I started smoking first, and then I wound up using a vaporizer, and oh my, oh, I just think about that year because it was one of my favorite years and one of the most beautiful years for me, spiritually and just growing. It was very confusing, but it was so just enriching and exciting. Um, I had, oh man, um, it was when I first started to realize that maybe I might be able to sense um, future events. It was not as strong as it is now, but I started to think like, yo, maybe I could, but I wasn't as confident. I wasn't like, you know, rocking with it. Um, But that was when I started to, notice the spirit animals. My first spirit animal that I noticed was the dragonfly, um, bees. I think dragonflies, bees, and I want to say that's it. Yeah, I saved a few dragonflies. I saved a few bees. Um, I buried some of them, made sure they were good. So that was my first experience, and it was super, super dope. I think that um, that year was very crucial, and I would say for anyone who's thinking about it, just or if you're using marijuana now and you're not really certain about why you're not getting the results that you maybe want from it, or if you're using, I'll say if you're using marijuana recreationally, I'm not trying to, I don't want to, like, I'm not judging nobody or anything like that. But when I first started using it, I had the intent and I put the intent into the universe. Like, I want this to help me spiritually. Before I started smoking on my own, like on a regular basis, I said, I want this to assist me spiritually. I don't care about the munchies. I don't care about giggling and laughing or having a good time. All of that is great and it comes with it, of course. But I wanted it to help me develop spiritually, and it absolutely did. Um, I began to see signs from the universe. At that time, they were all just very, very confusing to me, but they were still there. Um, and that also was exactly this. Gosh, I can't. Fuck it. That was the same year that I met my twin flame. So you can imagine, like, all of that happening at the same time. I did not know that that was my twin flame. Okay, let me put that out there. I didn't know. I just know that I ran into this person and was like, woo, you know what I'm saying? And oh my god. Mm, that year was so fucking dope, man. Like, I love that year. Um, but yeah, and what wound up happening was like almost like a second awakening because I had all my signs. I came in and I started, to connect with myself spiritually because I was using marijuana and it was raising my vibration, and um, then I met my twin flame, and it was going cool. Then that shit crashed and burned, and I had to like really like face myself. Up until that point, I had never had to look at the reality of who I was and kind of the ways that I kind of sucked, I guess, the things that I needed to improve on and work on. And, I learned so much from that. Um, so, yeah, that was when I first kind of stepped into the darkness of myself, was when I first started using marijuana. Which, I mean, it sounds really like, oh, I stepped into the darkness. Like, it's just, you have to, you have to. So that was what happened when I first, or when I began to use marijuana for spiritual reasons, and wound up propelling me into my truth and kind of seeing some beautiful things about myself that I didn't know that I had, and then also made me acknowledge some things that I had ignored, and I'm thankful for that. So, I want to make sure I didn't miss anything on that. So, oh my God, I did. And at that time, because I said I used my vaporizer, so with my vaporizer, I was able to make edibles. And when I tell you I make these strongest fucking edibles you could probably imagine. Hold on one second. Okay, sorry about that. I had to let the dogs in. Okay, it's hot outside. If they walk in here, you see them in the back, just say what's up. I was gonna upload a video with them, but I just kept it for my personal use. Um, what was I saying? Oh yeah, I made the strongest edibles that you could fucking think. Like these were like tiered edibles, okay? Because I will put them into capsules. So it would be like this gradually increasing high that lasted about 8 hours. So obviously, people don't really acknowledge weed as a psychedelic, but bro, I had trips. I had um, ugh, I had some good trips, and then I had. Well, no, let me go back. My In the beginning, the trips wouldn't last that long because I didn't really know what I was doing, so I was just really dehydrated. I wound up just blacking out for most of the those first initial ones, um, but the one time that I did not black out was like the first time that I felt like what I don't know what to say or what to call it. Um, I guess like a key was unlocked in my mind or some shit like that. Um, I had, God, Danny, God, stop touching me. I don't like hairs and dog hairs and shit. Okay. Um, so that was when I had my bad trip, and that was the one time that I did not black out, at least not immediately. So the trip started off really, really beautiful and euphoric. I remember having all of these memories from my childhood, and prior to that, I had always looked at my childhood as this negative thing. I had always focused on all of the horrible things that happened in my childhood. And then during this bad trip, or good trip before the bad trip, I started to think about all of the positive memories from my childhood. And um, that was when I realized like my perception is what made anything that I felt about my life a fact. So, and it's not to say that bad things didn't happen in my childhood, but it made me question why I gave more power to the bad things versus the good things. You know what I'm saying? Um, and then of course that trickled into my real life, or my not real life, into my day-to-day life as far as why do I pay more attention to the bad things that happen to me versus the good things? Um, so that's what happened. Now, of course, I wasn't ready for that trip. I had had kind of like minor trips before, but this was a little bit different because it was out of control. The trips that I had previously were just like smoking something that was too strong, so it wore off pretty quickly. This was like no, like you're in a trip right now, but guess what? You're about to be higher. You're still getting high. Like this shit is not stopping. So then I got fucking scared. And when I got scared was when all of these dark thoughts started to come into my head. And I was just like, oh my God, like I'm going to die. I was like, I'm gonna die. I remember being on the edge of my bed and I was just like, oh my God, like what is happening? And I remember I was like, okay, I was just like, I grabbed my phone and um, I was like, okay, call your friend. And I'm not going to say their name or whatever. They're really important to me. And we had not been, why do I keep doing that? I should not, there's certain things I should not withhold because that's not right. So I was like, okay, let me call my twin. But at that point in time, we had not been talking for mm, like 6 or 7 months, maybe. I don't know. So I was like, oh my God, just call them, like because I knew like if I heard their voice, like I would just feel better. But then there was this other side of me that was like, you know what? You need to take care of yourself. Like you cannot depend on them. to save you, you know. And me depending on them was part of what um, pulled us apart in the first place. So I did not call them. I just I had some granola bars and I just started eating them hoes, hoping that the sugar would like um, calm or take the highway. And it didn't. I just wound up blacking out. Thank God, because that was horrible. But you know, it taught me so much, and I was hoping this video wouldn't be so long, but this is a long story. Um, so then I started to change my perspective on life and say, you know, I'm gonna try to focus on the more positive things, you know, that are happening around me, not all the negative. Um, because then because that'll shape my reality. Um, and that was not the last time that that happened, but all of the other times I did not have a bad trip. Now that's probably because I was aware of what was going to happen beforehand, yada yada yada. Now on these other trips, the first the first trip that I had, I'm sorry if you can hear that, you probably can't because I don't have a mic plugged in. I know the audio is kind of low. I'm sorry. Um, but on the next trip was when I had my like because of the thoughts from my childhood were so shifted into a more positive state. On this next trip was when okay. On this next trip was when I began to reconnect with my childhood, and one of the connection that I had was I had a vision, not even a vision. Like if I could, it's hard to depict it or explain it unless you have experienced it. I feel like um, it's almost like the emotion of euphoria, just not euphoria. Well, euphoria and nostalgia just combine together, and they just rush into you and fill the entire room. I'm talking about my room was glowing. This was like right. This was in the morning because I went to sleep and the edible hit me when I woke up. So the sun was rising and the entire room was like this really intense orange glow and an orangish yellowish glow. And I just felt like these memories coming back to me of when I was a kid and I went to Inner Space Caverns and they had this like rock or gem or crystal shop, whatever. I don't know how old I was. I was probably like 6, maybe 5. I don't know. And I had this memory of this crystal that I picked up and stole. I guess I don't know if it was free. I feel like I stole it. I feel like I have memories of being a kid and stealing a lot of things. Um, so pretty much, I had a vision of citrine, and that's what I have here. Ooh, child, child, child. You can't get no better than that. Ooh, girl, my lips. Lord have mercy. There's the light, y'all. I promise. I'm just kidding. My lips are dry as fuck. Okay. So, mm. So I had a vision of citrine. So that reconnected me back um, with the citrine, and it was when I realized, like, oh my god, like being a kid, going to Inner Space Caverns, picking up this crystal, as I had always wondered, like, why was I so much happier as a kid, right? So I picked up the crystal, stole it. Actually, I didn't steal it. It was meant for me. Okay, it was a protection for me. I was just following my intuition as a child. I picked up the crystal and took it, and I remember having that crystal, and my childhood was not like the best, you know, growing up, but I didn't really go through as much as some of like my other siblings and the people around me. And I honestly attribute it to being protected by that crystal. So then that led me to crystals. So I don't know if I want to show you guys. I don't feel like it's that important. But I have a big citrine crystal. I have a Dioptase necklace. I have a large amethyst crystal and a shungite pendant and an amethyst pendant. So yeah, that was how I began to then learn about crystals and spiritual protection and spiritual attacks, which is why, which is a great return to the point that I was making earlier about my dreams. Because I said demon, but that the demon was actually someone that I was living with. So, which they might, I'm pretty sure that they're not what they claim to be. That's fine. But I started to pay more attention and focus on spiritual protection and understanding how to protect my energy, whether it be during my sleep, um, things like that. And not just that, but I realized like there were certain people who had given me gifts, right? They had given me necklaces and there were some bracelets and things like that that I wound up throwing away because they were not given to me with good intent. They were given to me to just to maintain a spiritual tie to me. You understand what I'm saying? They were given to me to get into my head. You know what I'm saying? And I want to make sure I present this in the correct timeline. Yeah, so I wound up throwing a lot of that away. And prior to me getting rid of those items, I would have nightmares about the people who gave them to me. And I say nightmares, but like these were actual spiritual and psychic attacks. And it transferred, of course, into my day-to-day life, but it was not fun sleeping and being attacked because if you're having vivid dreams, and I'm talking about like I was in that bitch like boo 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 like squared up with fucking demons, like choking the shit out of fucking demons in my dream, and they fucking like are sticking their tongue down my throat type shit. Like not a fucking game. Not a fucking game. Like I take this shit very fucking serious. Once I got rid of the bullshit that they gave me, the dreams were gone. And it's because we disconnected. They didn't have a connection with me anymore. So yeah. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. And then that's it. Yeah. Like when I learned all of that about spiritual protection, um, and my dreams, started to show me the truth, my life changed. I stopped interacting with certain people. I no longer took gifts from people, especially if they were jewelry and things like that. It's just like, no, I don't, mm-mm. No ma'am, no ma'am, no ma'am, no ma'am, no ma'am, no ma'am. I don't want that shit. Keep it. And not to be disrespectful, like I appreciate it, or I mean, if somebody offers you something and you just cannot say no, like I guess take it and throw it away or burn it, whatever you gotta do, but or cleanse it, or I mean, if you really care about it, cleanse it. I don't give a fuck. I'm not after what I've been through. I'm not taking no more jewelry as a gift. Like no, 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 no. Just no. um. So yeah, that was kind of the trajectory of that. Um. And then after that was when my dreams started to really amplify and get more vivid, and um, then they got more vivid after that because I I stopped smoking at that point. Um, And I stopped smoking because initially because I felt a little bit too vulnerable and a little bit too open to the world. Like I would get high and then it's just I was a little bit more accepting of people who I shouldn't have been accepting of. So I stopped smoking for that reason, and also for um, just not I won't say financial, but I guess financial reasons, but also just because I'm I don't like spending time to go get weed. Honestly, I'm gonna keep it real. I don't like trying to connect with a plug and having to wait for niggas, and they just be on this bullshit. Y'all know how it is when you gotta buy weed and your plug ain't really your plug ain't really the best. Yeah. So then I stopped smoking, and that will be in the second part of this video. This motherfucker was longer than I thought. Hopefully the other ones are not, but y'all stay tuned for the second part of this video. I might eat real quick or something, but see y'all there.